Well, Craig, welcome to Sao Paulo. This fight with Shogun Rua came out of nowhere. How did you react when the UFC contacted you offering to take this fight against Shogun on short notice?
It took us the whole 2 seconds to accept this fight. We got the email, and within minutes of receiving it, we'd confirmed that we were going to take it. I had actually went into training before I'd signed my contract. I hadn't received my contract, and before I had even finished training, the fight was already released. So my social media just went mental, which was cool. And yeah, we signed that contract, sent it away, and now I'm living the dream.
Why did you go training before signing the contract? Were you like trying to feel how were you in shape in the fight?
No, well, the reason we hadn't actually received the contract, we just accepted the fight, so were offered it. We said yes, we were going to take it, and we were waiting on the contract coming back. So before I had even signed that contract or received it, the fight had already been announced, which is cool.
Was there any hesitation accepting the fight because it was on short notice and all that, or it's just too good of an opportunity to let it pass?
There was no hesitation whatsoever to accept this fight. To share the octagon with a legend like Shogun Rua, you don't need to think twice about that.
I'm told that you weren't the first name that was offered to Shogun before, after Sam Alvey had to pull out, but they denied a few names before accepting your name. Do you think that maybe they see you as an easier matchup? Someone on short notice is not that complicated to adjust and adapt to fight?
Yeah, I believe that's why they accepted the fight, because they believe in their skill set that they can beat them. But I've got a bit more faith, a bit more youth, a bit more athleticism, and my coach, I believe that I'm going to be able to beat them.
You've been fighting for a while, but Shogun is such a legend of this sport, almost 40 professional fights. How is it surreal for you to see yourself fighting here in Brazil against someone that was a champion even before you came to the UFC?
You know, it was a dream to fight in the UFC. Every other person I've fought against is a dream. You know, every next fight that I get to keep continuing fighting for the UFC is a dream. So I'm just happy to get the fights. I don't see Shogun Rua as this mythical beast. He's just a man. He's got 2 legs, 2 arms. He goes to sleep at night. He does everything exactly the same as me. So I don't fear any legend.
And fighting in Brazil, you have fought all over the world. Being here in Brazil and all these stories that people talk about the Brazilian crowd and all this, does it add something, any extra layer in this fight, or for you it's just business as usual?
It is just business as usual for me. We are always travelling to other countries to fight, and we're always underdog. We're always fighting Americans in America. We're always fighting Australians in Australia. We are the guy who comes in. We're always the blue corner, never the red.
You have submitted a couple of Brazilians in the UFC. How special would it be to get it done against Shogun as well, especially here in Brazil?
Yep, so I've beat 2 Brazilians. My record against Brazilians have been pretty good, but I'm looking for the hat trick, and what would make that hat trick special is the victory over Rua.
And I saw that Damian Maia teach a seminar in your gym back in August, I think. Did you get the chance to train with him while he was there teaching this?
Yeah, Damien was only there for a few hours, so it wasn't an opportunity to train with him. But just because you train with someone doesn't necessarily mean you show your best work. So even if I had trained with him, there's nothing he can take away from that. Because when it comes to the fight, people change. People can train, and when it comes to the fight, they totally change and be a totally different fighter.
He's a long-time close. He's a close friend of Shogun for a long time. But back in August, you weren't going to fight him. But so even if you did train with him for a long period of time, you wouldn't learn too much to give him information, right?
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to construct a fight camp in 3 weeks from one role. And anyway, Damian Maia gave us all his tricks. He told us everything. Damian Maia went, listen, the way to beat Shogun Rua is you do this. So Damian Maia's already gave us a heads up.
And 2 of your submissions in the UFC came in the final minutes of the fight. Is there how you envision this fight going? I mean, a long war and you finish him at the end, or you maybe anticipate a shorter night?
You know, I always go out there to finish a fight. It doesn't matter if it's first round or if it's last round. I'm looking for the finish. As you can see by that stare off, there was some intense there was some intense stares there. So it's going to be an amazing fight. No matter what happens, it's got fighting night written all over it, and I'm looking for that submission in the first round or a knockout. And that's the thing, I've never been able to actually showcase my stand-up to the best of my ability. I want to show that, and this could be a fight.
Is there anything behind that stare down? It was really intense, like you said. Is that something you just always do, but this time you wanted to do something special because it's Shogun, you wanted maybe trying to intimidate him, get into his head before the fight?
Yeah, I always want to be in my opponent really close to them. I like to feel their energy, I like to see them right into their eyes, and I like to see if there's any chinks in their armour, like that sort of nervous energy. But when you're up against a legend like Shogun Rua, there's not a lot of chinks. He's done this, as you're saying, over 40 times, so it's an experience.
I don't think that what have you seen when you came close to his eyes? What did you see there?
His eyes, they were just looking all over my face, trying to pick a point. He's too busy trying to look for one point to stare into, and I'm just looking into his soul, ready to take it.
And what this win means for you in the UFC? He's a former champion, he's a legend. How does this win take you? Where does it take you in the UFC?
Yeah, so the start of 2019, we set a goal to be in that top 15. We did experience a loss in 2019, which affected our progression through the division. And what this win will do to me is project me into that top 15 and let me get that 2019 goal ticked off.
I saw an old interview with you that you mentioned that you would retire from MMA the day you were cut from the UFC. I don't think your job is on the line this fight, definitely, but have you changed your stance on that, or do you still think that it's UFC or Bursa when you about MMA?
Yeah, for me it's UFC or nothing. Like, I could go to other organisations and I could get relatively good money and get relatively easy fights, but for me, why would you accept anything less than the best? So for me, this is what this is. So you need to ask me again after 4 fights how I feel about my contract and where I'm going to go. But right this moment, it's the best or nothing for me.
How many fights do you have in your contract?
Another 4.
And by the way, are you still working at a school teacher?
At the end of 2 years ago, I had to actually stop that because I was given 50% to my job and 50% to MMA. Something has to give. I would fail at both of them. I'd become a really bad teacher or I'd become a really bad MMA fighter. So I decided I can always go back to doing teaching or some form of it, but I can't take another opportunity to do MMA or fight in the UFC. You only get one opportunity to do this.
When you came back to teaching, you said you stopped teaching. When did you get back?
I'll get back after my career in the UFC's over. Once I'm finished and once I'm old, I'm worn out, I'm 37, I've maybe been the world champion, I've maybe fought in Pride, I'm maybe a wee bit broken, worn out, then maybe I'll retire.
How old were your students?
They were ranging between the ages of 13 years old to 16, so they're right in the demographic for UFC fans, and I imagine 90% of them still support me and still show me love.
I imagine it's going to be such a cool thing for them to have a teacher fighting the UFC.
Yeah, it is, and I still get messages from every once in a while saying, "You're my teacher back at this high school," which is a cool experience. I'll always be remembered as that. Oh, that guy used to be my teacher. It's kind of cool.
Thank you very much. Good luck on Saturday.